You've got about 10, I think it's the exact number, 10.6 million subscribers who listen to you, talk to you, are inspired by you every single week. At what time, well, first of all, do you ever look in the mirror and when you're sort of having an honest moment, say, how did this happen? And if not that, at what point did you start to say to yourself, this is and will be very big?
First of all, if I look in the mirror and have an honest moment, it's not going to be about my subscribers. It's going to be about something else, like my stretch marks or something. Yeah, I mean, I every day wake up, I'm like, how is this my life? How do I have this career that I have? Because it's amazing. I was probably the last person on my team and in my immediate world to ever think that this was something. So it was well past 1 million subscribers, probably well past 2. You know, everyone else was like, oh my God, you know, you made it, and this is so cool. And I was like, ta-da. I don't know. I feel like this could be a fluke. I'm not really sure. For me, my eureka moment was when I traveled for the first time and performed in India, which is where my parents are from.
Yep.
Okay.
Punjab,
only in
I
Singapore.
Believe.
I see you. I know the brown Punjabi population.
Get
I see you.
Calm down, Girish.
I see you. Is that the Punjabi section? Security, you know where to pay attention? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, for me it was the first time, I mean, I've performed a lot, but the first time I performed in India as Superwoman was really meaningful for a few reasons. One was, that's like truly across the planet. And so to go there and have people come up to you and say, you know, your videos and when you said this and when you did this, and I'm like, wow, the internet really is like worldwide. That's really cool. And I think, especially with a career that's so not conventional, it's such a process to try to explain to your parents what you do.
Oh, for
and
sure.
so for them, seeing people in India and the media in India being like, oh, it's Superwoman, they're like, oh yeah, okay, we get this.
Yeah.
We understand in India, if actors and actresses like our daughter, we can understand. So they finally accepted my career, and I was like, this is amazing.
Well, it shows how stupid I am. I'm watching some of your videos, and I'm thinking, and your mother's there, and it's like, oh wow, okay, I can see where Lily gets it from, if that's her mother. And it was only at the end, it was like, oh, that was Lily dressed up as her mother.
Oh, you just realized at the end. Yeah, it's really funny, actually. So for those of you who don't know, I dress up as my parent characters a lot. And some of the top comments are, it's so sweet how Lily and her parents have the same tattoos.
Amazing.
I'm like,
yeah, that's right. Hey,
either you're really naive or I'm really good. I'm going to take both of them.
So I want to talk to you about that. So because you say, you know, you got to 1 million and people were saying, oh, you know, well done. And you were thinking, oh, you know, is this a bit of a fluke? Is it as you're a YouTuber, you reach a certain point, and for brands, in terms of thinking, how do you latch onto a volume of an audience, you get to a certain point, and then the algorithms kick in, and it starts to, like, there's a massive spike of growth. Is that what you found happened?
Yeah, I mean, when I started YouTube, which was 6 years ago, it was very different from what it is now. I mean, I vividly remember struggling to reach my first 1,000 subscribers. And I made like a celebratory video. It was Justin Bieber themed. Hey. I was like, never say never. I made it. And now, like, you post a video of a cat falling and you get like 10,000 subscribers, right? So it's very, very different. For me, reaching 100,000 subscribers was such a lengthy process. And then you do grow exponentially. So, you know, you hit 1 million and now it's like, oh, 3-4 months have gone by, and I'm like, oh, it's another 1 million. So it grows exponentially.
And I'm assuming that growth is all part of a, you know, if we look at it in marketing speak, we would look at the brand journey and the different stages of it and the engagement. I mean, from your point of view, because you're, you know, what I've called, or what I look at, it's inspirational videos. There's a comedic element to it. There's some big thorny issues that you talk about, but you do it in a way that isn't treacly. Now, that is so difficult to stay fresh around that. And there's a sense that, you know, if I'm a YouTuber and I have a one-hit wonder and I think, oh, that was great, you know, I'll do, you know, what shall I do now? You presumably, you think, or do you think of your brand and you think of how almost like chapters, everything that you're doing build, but you don't dilute what you stand for? Do you think carefully about that at all? Or it's just like, yeah, it's Wednesday.
Everything you said sounded so smart.
I know.
And so I'm gonna agree with everything. That is exactly what I do. Yes. No, you know what it is? A lot of people careers have started because they were a product of a viral video. Absolutely nothing is wrong with that. I didn't. I never had a viral hit that I was like, oh, I should start making YouTube videos now. I started making videos because I was sad and I wanted to be happy. That's the honest reason. And every video is counted to gain some subscribers. If you ask my fans what's your favorite video, they'll all have a different answer. There's not one video I'm known for. The Punjabi people will disagree because they'll all say stuff Punjabi mothers say. Yes, that's fine. But yeah, so everything is counted. And you know, to your point, yeah, I stand for things and I want to make sure my content speaks to what I stand for. And so I try to stay away from trying to get that viral hit. I don't believe in every week trying to get a viral hit. I'm trying to think of the longevity of my brand and what I want it to represent. Right. The great thing about being a YouTube creator, being in the digital space, is you can really think about things in a 360 aspect, you know. My bread and butter is always going to be YouTube, not because I make the most money there, but that's because that's where my foundation is. My core audience is there. I never want to abandon that core audience because I know a lot of people get big on YouTube and they ditch it and they try doing something else. I'm not going to do that. My community is there, and so anything I do, whether it's a book, whether it's bras, whether it's lipstick, whatever, is gonna be.
I won't remember you.
Is gonna.
When you change the name.
Is gonna be an extension of that. You know, my book, How to Be a Boss, is a reflection of how people see me work on my vlog channel. My lipstick is because I love red lipstick, and they've seen me wear red lipstick for years now, and so everything is always an extension of what I do on YouTube, and it's always something I authentically believe in. All these products are things I believe in. The lipstick is awesome. Okay. It actually is awesome, and I love it.
Anybody here use it?
I'm just saying, okay, girl, I see you. I'm saying it's actually awesome, and all the products that I put my name on are things I think are epic.
So, and you worked with, let's just go into that, aligning with brands, working with brands, and how you decide which companies you're going to work with. You worked with Coca-Cola, Share a Coke in Canada, which was fantastic. How did that come about? And when you were thinking of the sort of content that you would produce from that, how did you work with the creative agency to bring that together?
That's a really good question. You're like, thanks. No, all your questions have been great. So I have a YouTube network called Studio 71, and for those of you that aren't familiar, YouTube networks are kind of like record labels, but for YouTubers. So they will represent a certain amount of creators and bring them brand deals and kind of assist them with their channel. So the Coke deal was brought to me through Studio 71. And it was really interesting and unique in the fact that they weren't saying, hey, we want a video where you hold a Coke and hold it like this with the label and drink it like this. It was like, hey, we want to form a partnership with you over 1 year. So it's actually a 1-year partnership I have that's still going on through several of their campaigns, whether it was the music lyrics they recently did on bottles, the playlists they have, whether it was the Share a Coke. And so it's 3 videos, 3 mentions in blogs, 3 whatever the particulars are, but it's a partnership, not a one-off deal. That was really exciting because they were really willing to let me be creative. Of course, every brand has talking points like, don't show Pepsi in the same, you know, things like obviously, but they were like, hey, what is your idea to talk about this campaign? Let us know, and then we'll make this a 2-way street.
So is that maturity, arguably maturity, and that attitude, is that the norm, or is it exceptional with brands? The best brands, they sort of understand that they need to take that approach. And have you seen that change over the last 5 years?
Have I seen a change? Yes. Is it enough of a change? No. I still say no to a lot of brand deals because brands will approach me thinking I need them in the most humble way, which I don't. Right. And so if a brand comes up to me and starts treating me in such a way where it's like, you need this and these are the deadlines and we need a response by this time and these are the talking points and we're not budging on it, I'll be like, great, I'm not doing it.
So it really is for them understanding that they are working in partnership, that you've got a brand that you need to, and that comes from you authentically believing your
and you know at the end of the day what it is, and I always tell brands this, because I've done so many of these things, I feel like I'm the person that lays the smackdown on brands. I don't know, from YouTube side at least, like I think that they want me to be that person. I love working with brands. I think brands are great, but I want it to be known that a YouTube view on my channel or any of these creators that are about to come out their channels is worth so much more than a television view. The reason is if someone comes to my channel, they are proactively saying, YouTube.com/Lilly Singh, it is Monday, she's putting out a video, and I love her and I believe her. Whereas on TV, you're like just scrolling through the channels and passively watching something. And so I would like to argue that it is very meaningful to invest in digital content and influencers.
Okay, I will, yeah, there we go. You're second generation YouTubers. So, what was it like being part of a family that just grew up with YouTube?
I mean, we started YouTube with my mom when we were 9, so it's kind of been like since we were old enough to even remember, it's just been YouTube. And for us, it's very normal. We're a very normal family, which is kind of like an abnormal job. But we just started as like hair models. We didn't really even say much. And then it kind of grew because the fans were the ones who were curious as to like who we were, and they wanted to know us more, which is what inspired us to branch off from our parents' main channel.
And so when you were thinking about creating your own channel, how did you decide when you were going to break away? What would you be as the pair of you? What would you stand for? How did you decide that? What was the process behind that?
I think we decided like when we started our channel, we took our experience on my mom's channel and we decided based off of that. So my mom, if some of y'all don't know, she does hairstyles, specifically girls' hairstyles. I don't think we've ever incorporated boys, but you know, we could look into that in the future. But one of the things that we decided...
We'll do that at It's a Boys thing.
Yeah. Isn't everything a boys?
So one of the things that we decided that we wanted different for our channel was we didn't want to specifically tie our channel down to one sort of video. And that kind of goes for who we are, because Brooklyn and I, we do so much stuff. We are dancers, we're readers, we go to church, we're girls, we're twins. We sing, we do all sorts of fun stuff. We do tons of stuff.
How do you manage from the age of 9 now to 16 to be so riotously successful? And you say, oh, you know, we're just a couple of young ladies growing up, and yeah, we've just happened to have 3 million people that interact with us every week. How do you deal with that in the sense of you thinking about what should we be saying and doing this week that is still relevant for the 3 million people that expect a certain thing from you every week?
Yeah, so when we decided to do a lot of different things on our channel, it was based on what is happening in our life, because that will always be relevant, because we are girls and there are always girls growing up and going through the same things as us, because we still go to normal high school, and girls are still going to normal high school. They still go to homecoming and they still have tests that they need to go through, and lots of things that all girls all over the world go through, and so the things that we post about are relevant to them and the things they go through as well. So I think it just translates.
So when you, I've sort of noticed that you look at bringing a lot of collaborations. I mean, you know, we cross markets at Studio C, I think it is. Yeah. So how do you decide with the different groups that you're going to be working with, and how does that work for you?
A lot of the times we have to really know somebody before we'll just collab with them or do something with them. We really make sure that we have like a bond, and that they'll translate, that their content is content our audience will enjoy watching as well, because you don't ever want to push to something that your audience isn't going to want to watch as well. So I think a lot of it just goes into like a relationship with someone, and then once we have that relationship, that's when we'll start establishing like, oh, well, we could do a video with you. We could, you know, cross-network and all that. Okay,
and you've said that you want to be making videos when your gran is. Are you going to sort of continue living right next to each other, or it's no? And I bring this up. I mean, it's a lovely idea, but I mean, you look at the following that you've got now, the relevance that you've got. Is it your belief that as you get older, those 3 million people, as they're getting older as well, that they will continue to stay connected with you, and 3 to 5 million to 10 million to 20 million, whatever it might be? And how are you going to change your brand? Because your persona is one thing at the moment. 16-year-old, high school, connecting into that, giving a voice to young ladies growing up. What are you going to do when your mums and when your gran is?
I think, like, once again, our channel is like based around our lifestyle. So when we grow up, it will develop along with us. And I think our viewers know that. And I think they realize that, like, it won't consistently, like when we're 24, we won't be still making content for 16-year-old girls. We'll be making content that is relevant to our life. So I think our viewers will follow through with us even when we're old grannies. Like, the old grannies will be watching. It'll be great. It'll be a fest of grannies.
Brooklyn, anything to add to that?
I think that she had the same idea that I was going to say, pretty much that our content is going to grow up with us as well, and who knows, maybe in the future we'll start family vlogging channels or something, and content that girls our age that are watching us now, when we're older, they'll be older too, so the content will still be relevant. And of course, like, that, you never know what's going to happen with the network. YouTube may die tomorrow and we just would never know, but if it lasts until we're old grannies, we can make old grandma knitting 101 videos or something, and somebody will watch it.
So, and it is very interesting that you are acutely aware of how quickly audiences and the channels are changing. So, I mean, exactly as you say, 5 years from now, 10 years, who knows how you will be connecting with your audience. But you stay agile and you stay open to, I mean, do you have any preconceived ideas what you will and won't do, or you just, you stay open to the opportunities as you see different channels evolve and change?
I think we're open to whatever happens. I mean, like you said, who knows what's going to happen in 5, 10 years, 20 years. We have no idea what it's going to look like, but we would definitely be open to whatever happens and whatever develops and whatever works for our channel.
You had a successful career. You were in the makeup business to international photographers. Most people would have been happy with that. But you decided that, did YouTube find you, or did you find YouTube?
I was living in Brooklyn, and I went back down to Virginia to take time off to take care of my mom. And during the downtime, I started a channel because I'd been watching YouTube forever. It was one of those things where, being in the beauty industry, you want to hear about makeup, talk about makeup and everything. And I kind of one day was like, I could talk about makeup and it would at least keep my mind fresh and, all that stuff. So I think my first ever video was filmed on my laptop with my little webcam. And I did a review on Sally Hansen nail strips because I hadn't seen any on YouTube before. So it wasn't even like makeup necessarily, but that's how it started. And I moved back. I went back to Brooklyn and had posted a couple other videos, but it wasn't until I moved out to LA, probably about 6 months to a year later, when I was trying to continue my freelancing out in LA, and it was a little harder for me to find consistent work. So I was like, looking at my YouTube channel one day, I was like, oh my God, I have like 1,000 people that are just waiting for a video. And I was like, maybe I should just entertain them and it'll give me something to do. So it all happened very naturally. I would vlog when I would go on set and stuff like that. And then I would do beauty videos, I'd do vlogs. And eventually I found that I really enjoyed making content, and that's kind of just where it led me. I mean, I would have been perfectly happy continuing my makeup freelancing and all that stuff, but I was just having so much fun creating videos. And
what is it about the content that you're producing that you find your fans find most interesting?
I think it's a little bit of it comes down to the editing and, fun videos like that. When I first put out my lipstick swatch video where I was like lip syncing to Nicki Minaj and had different lipsticks on, that was something that I was really proud of because I felt like that really set the bar for what I wanted to create, like something fun and different. Like I didn't want to just sit there and hold up a lipstick and talk about it. I wanted it to be fun. And that the creative side was something that kind of led me down the road of continuing to make videos. And then also just the personal connection with people. I think because I was vlogging and I was open about speaking about what I'd gone through with my mom and, everything like that, I think that created like this outside bond with me personally that people just like want to follow my journey as a person. You've all talked about authentic content. You've all talked about really understanding your audience and content that is going to, through knowing your audience, you have a sense that it's going to be so relevant. There is also a degree for a lot of you, I say vulnerability. You kind of like put your lives out there. Now, then you get into the creative agency business, and brands typically very defined, very closed off, what they will say, what they won't say. So how are you able to work with brands and make sure that you conform to their brand guidelines, and yet you are able to respect
the personal brand that you have and the relationship you have with your audience? How do you bridge that?
I switch it around because I mean it started out in much more like awesome brands want to work with me. Now it's like they're coming to you for a reason, and in theory, they know your content and they want you to be under that umbrella. So now it's like nobody is going to force me to say anything I don't feel confident in saying or that I don't believe in. So no money is going to, make me change my mind on that. And I think brands more so are understanding that. You can't hand me a script and know that I'm going to like hit all these talking points and sound like a little robot. It's not going to make sense, and then my audience is also going to know.
Celebrity endorsement is not a new thing across Asia. I am dumbfounded sometimes by the evaluation process of like, it's got to be reach. We just want number. But you're kind of saying, yeah, the number's important, but you've got to align what the brand stands for with the brand of the celebrity content producer.
I think it's also different, though, looking at a celebrity versus looking at YouTubers, because we have such a more personal relationship with our, audience that, when I look at like an actor, for example, they're acting, they're being paid to do a role, whereas people know us as people. And so if I am talking about one product one day and saying how much I dislike it, it didn't do this and this, and then all of a sudden I do a paid endorsement for it, they're going to know that I'm lying, and it's not worth going through that whole thing, because then any brand that comes after that is not trustworthy.
Do you turn away more opportunities than you do accept, or what's the evaluation process that you go through? Has somebody else done it for you, or you have a very distinctive, you want to decide on who you're working for and get involved in that?
Yeah,
Claire?
I say no a lot more times than I ever say yes.
It's usually like a family process for us saying yes to something. We usually like get together and we evaluate whether or not we're comfortable working with someone with that brand, and whether or not it's authentic to us and authentic to our audience. So yeah, I agree. It's a lot. It's very similar to what she said.
I feel like the internet helped push my music to places I never thought it would be, like MySpace. It started from
Yep.
MySpace. It's easier to get new material. Like, it's a lot faster than back in the days when I first started, which was a long time ago, like 2003. I don't think we were pushing out music on the internet yet. It was like all CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I feel like internet, it comes a lot faster. Everything's given to you real quickly. It's like a microwave.
For sure. Actually, and Arana, it's interesting you say that, because any of the brands who are sitting in the room today, in fact, anybody sitting in the room today will say that the speed of change and the sort of connectivity with who's listening to you, who's watching you, and the need to be in that relationship, it's like a sea change that we're all walking through at the moment. So you're not alone. Don't worry about that. But how do you decide? I mean, again, very much as I've been saying in the context of with our other guests here, how do you decide that from what you're able to see is actually working with your audience? How does that shape the type of music that you're producing? Does it shape it at all, or you produce the music you produce and you kind of just hope that it's going to be relevant for your audience?
Yeah, I just write what I feel, I just write what I can relate to, and if I'm happy with it, then, whoever else is happy with it, then that's a plus.
I'm so not pretty in my videos. A lot of us have vlog channels where our audience does get to see the behind the scenes, whether at a shoot or whether we're writing a book, they'll see us totally stressed without makeup, bags under our eyes, doing that stuff, which is the beauty of the internet. But when it comes to my actual team, managers and PR people and assistants and whatnot, I show them, and people might know that they work with me just because you can find everything on the internet, but I personally I'm very involved in my business. So I totally geek out with stats. I think I'm involved in every aspect of my business, and I get infuriated if someone doesn't loop me into an email that has to do with my business. So not all creators are like that, and to each their own, but I think it's just personal preference. So I don't know if you guys differ from that.
I've always been a one-woman show. I film, edit all my own content, and the few times that I haven't done that, people have taken notice, and so I've been very adamant about that. It's definitely difficult, and I think that but I'm like totally open about it. I don't think that, Claire's in my videos all the time. It's my other Claire.
We definitely film our videos. It's all produced with just our family. And then my dad's really good with all the analytics, although I really geek out about that kind of stuff too. What can I say? And then we do have some help with the editing and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's just within our family or me and Brooklyn.
For me personally, I think it hit me a lot harder when I first started creating videos, because I was like, I'm putting myself out there and this is like the downside, like people don't like me, like that kind of thing. But I'm a little bit older than I think some girls that are on YouTube, and I'm so glad because I'm pretty aware, and I know myself pretty well. So anytime someone leaves a comment, most of the time I just kind of brush it off because they don't know me, and the stuff that they're assuming about me is false. So I think the only time the hate has kind of really gotten to me is if for some reason a part of it I felt was true, and then I was being called out on it or something like that. But it's a lot easier, I think, when you're very confident in what you're doing and who you are as a person.
I put out my first album, and I was super happy, and I was just excited. I was just excited about everything, and then afterwards, in came the YouTube comments, that say a lot of bad stuff about me, and I'd take it to heart, and it was constant, and for me, I couldn't handle it at the time, so I kind of just, to this day, I kicked myself. I stopped doing music for a while. I quit, because I couldn't handle, it just hurt, and I was depressed for a while, and then I realized after a while that I just let other people that I don't even know, get to me. And that's when I started getting back into it, and I wrote songs about it. And that's what helped me writing about it.
I used to be on a schedule. I used to post Monday and Thursday, and I would try to post it 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I went through some personal things that kind of, threw that schedule out of the window. But then afterwards, it was more about producing content that I was really happy with, trying to produce it fairly consistency. And when I post, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll post it on Monday, because I really like starting my week with my viewers and saying, hey, Monday, here's a video. But for the most part, I started to feel like if I wanted to be successful in all parts of my life, I couldn't stick to the same schedule and be producing content to the level that I was happy with. So I would much rather, and my audience has grown to understand this as well, that I would much rather post once every 2 weeks, once every week, if I can make it, that kind of thing, with content that I'm really proud of. And, if it's a vlog, for example, I post it more often and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that that's helped a little bit, because then I don't feel like I'm cheating anybody.
We stick to a schedule because it's actually easier, for my personality and for Brooklyn's personality, to have a schedule and to know, we have to have it done by this time and this date and this. It's easier for me that way, because I feel like if we didn't have that time, then it would just keep getting pushed back and it would never happen. So that's why there's no specific reason why it's Wednesday. There's no specific reason why 4 o'clock besides, school, but it's just so that we can consistently post for our fans, and they can be on our channel, and they can know that specifically at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, we'll post a video.
That's something to go.
That's something that they look forward to every Wednesday.
I do every Monday and Thursday on my main channel, and I do daily vlogs on my second channel. Monday and Thursday, the reasoning actually back in the day when I decided this 5 or so years ago was Jenna Marbles posts on Wednesdays, and all the other creators I know post on other days, so I kind of found 2 days that not a lot of people posted on. Of course, in today's age, that's completely irrelevant because everyone posts every day. But for me, it was that's a good enough gap for me to make 2 videos. I can't do Monday and Tuesday because I would go crazy. Not to say I'm sane now, but it's just a reasonable gap for me to kind of try to get it done. But to your point, it is so hard. And I totally relate to what you're saying, because there's many
daily
times.
vlogger, oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's many times. Technically, I didn't post a video yesterday because it's still Thursday in LA. So after this, I'm going to go stress about making a video to try to post it, and it's tough. I think every creator has their own method of how they use social media. Me personally.
So what is it?
Let me tell you the secret here. The secret. Dragon's blood. No. Turn this into Game of Thrones real quick. But for me, it is YouTube is the end goal. That's where I want people to go more than anywhere else, because that's where my videos are. That's where ads run. That's how I eat dinner, because people watch YouTube videos. So I use the other social media platforms as a funnel to get back to YouTube, essentially. It's posting videos on Facebook or teasers to videos that will lead back to YouTube. tweeting about videos that lead back to YouTube, Snapchatting about me behind the scenes that leads back to YouTube. That's personally what I do. I love all social medias. I'm not just, I don't bash the rest of them, but I do definitely use them as funnels to get back to YouTube.
So you say there YouTube and ads, and there has been a little bit of controversy recently over YouTube announcing demonetization of some content. They won't put advertising next to it.
This is my personal opinion, and I think it's very much so representative of the content I make, which is family-friendly, PG content. So I'm not affected by this new change. Someone who might be affected might think differently, and that's completely fine. In my opinion, I think as a creator, I'm well aware that the money that comes through YouTube is not through YouTube, it's through ads. YouTube is the middle person. Ads are paying YouTube, and that's how we make money. And so as a content creator, I kind of understand that. If a brand wouldn't want their ad to run against content that doesn't represent what their brand stands for. Right. It would be hypocritical of me to disagree with that. I wouldn't want my brand to be associated with things I don't believe in either. And I think at the end of the day also, if we just look at the bare bones, it's uploading a video doesn't automatically give you the right to monetize the video. I think we've been spoiled and been trained to think that we are so entitled to automatically deserve revenue. No, YouTube is an amazing platform that gave us all this career, and now we're kind of like, I think the creators are like, well, I deserve to get paid. Like, says who?
Right.
YouTube created that model. Says who? I think you've gotten used to it, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's me, as a PG-13 family-friendly person that is not affected by this whole thing. Creators are awesome, and they have so much power and influence. I don't think, in the most humble way, I don't think creators should be so upset that their videos will be demonetized, because any of them can go get a brand deal aside from, that's just AdSense. Yes. YouTubers have so many opportunities to do anything else. Write a book and swear in it all day long. You're still going to sell it. Just because you don't get something on AdSense, you have so many other opportunities to make money.
I also don't monetize all of my videos. When it comes to music, for example, I would rather have content that has great music in it and I have permission to use that, but if YouTube doesn't want me to monetize that because of that song, it's fine with me. I would rather focus on the quality of my content than worrying about AdSense. When I first started, it might have been a little bit different if it were affecting me, because as soon as I was able to make rent with my AdSense, I was like, okay, yeah, this is where my attention's gonna go. But now it's totally different. I think I would rather focus on really quality brand deals and creating good content than worrying about whether or not an ad is running in front of my video.
Brilliant.
You know what? I think one of the most important things in the world is traveling, because I think it opens up people's minds and makes people less ignorant and understand that there's no right or wrong, there's just different. If I had a superpower, it would be to instill the knowledge that traveling gives people, even if they're not able to travel. So I'd want everyone to know what every corner of the world actually experiences and to be aware of their privilege and act in accordance to that.
I would pick invisibility, because then you could have a moment to yourself. So I'll pass that on to the talent.
Very good. Nice one. Brooklyn?
Oh gosh. I always say this when I'm asked a question about if I wanted a superpower. So I'm just gonna give it to you because it's a really cool superpower. It's the power to fill things up. To me, I think that's important. If somebody has an empty stomach, you can fill it up. If somebody doesn't have money, you can fill up their bank account. If you need a water bottle and it is empty, you can fill it up. It works in all sorts of scenarios.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if this is a power, but the power of love and self-confidence and radiating that, because I think it's so important to not only have that in yourself to live a happy life, but also to spread that to other people, I think is really important. So,
audiences, I think the most important thing between a creator and the audience is trust. I really would be hurt if my audience didn't trust me, and so don't make a creator say anything that they don't believe in, and trust them. At the end of the day, they don't want to create a bad video for your brand, because a bad video for your brand would be a bad video for their channel. They want the video to be good. When I do a branded video, I'm like, I want this to be the best video. In fact, I'm going to overcompensate because people know I'm getting paid for it. So now it's even better than before. So just really trust the creator and what they want to do. I'll give you a quick horror story. I had my parent characters, and before I was maybe as popular as I am now, there was a huge department store that I was doing a shoot with, and I guess they approved the creative, but once they saw my very Indian mother character in their store, they immediately wanted to change the creative, I guess not thinking that character was reflective of who their demographic is, which I'm like, Indians are everywhere, I don't know where you think you're living, but yeah, they were just so concerned at not realizing that those characters are actually a huge staple on my channel, and people go to my channel to see those characters. So I think it's just being open-minded and really trusting the creator. And don't treat them like they need your money. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back to this. I had so many experiences with brands that are like, yeah, you know, this is the offer, it's on the table until 3 p.m. today. So discuss with your entire team, figure it out. And I'm like, okay, bye. Like I don't need to be treated like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I think one of the most important things when like working with brands is that the creator really loves the content that they're talking about and they're using in their videos and their what I was just gonna say giving the creator creative freedom, because like Lily mentioned earlier that brands have a lot of like very rigid, very like talking points, like you said, script earlier, and I think it's important that brands understand that us as creators, we know our audience and we know how things come across to our audience and we know how to show things so that our audience enjoys it. So I think it's more just giving like a creator freedom with talking points. Maybe you have a few talking points and you let them, like you said, shout out a few ideas and then you choose like, oh, that one works for us or that one, you know, that type of thing. And I'm actually not going to give a horror story. I'm going to give a glory story of a brand deal that did that exact thing. I won't name any names, even though it was a great experience. But we made a video with my parents for their channel, and the brand came to us and just said, what would work best for your audience and how would you incorporate our brand in that? And they gave us all creative freedom, and we brought them like 3 different ideas and they picked which one they thought would work best with their brand, and it was just a really, really good experience. It was teamwork instead of just a lay down script and just say that, do that, and because it works best for us. You know, it was just a really, really good experience. So that was the glory story.
For me, I think it's a little easier to take what a brand is saying and twist that into what I would like. It's not necessarily about hiding the fact that there's a brand in there. I think a lot of people have always been super afraid of, or, you know, there's always that sting of it, this is sponsored content. Whereas it can be done really tastefully and it can be done really successfully given that partnership to work well together, because obviously we know our audiences really well and know what they're into, and we want to, again, like you said, like want to make the best video for you just as much as you want the best video for you guys. So I don't necessarily have a horror story, but I think I did a collaboration with a brand where they basically hired me to speak about different, you know, topics, and some of them were, you know, very lifestyle that didn't really relate to me, but there was a makeup segment where they were speaking about, you know, tips for certain like travel tips and makeup and travel or what have you. And I read the script and I was like, I would never say this in a video. If this were on my channel, like obviously it wasn't even for my channel, but if I were as a makeup person with oily skin or like what have you, the things that they were making me say, like all of my subscribers that would go to see this video would know that I was lying through my teeth. So in that case, I was like, I made them rewrite the script, or I co-wrote it with them, but basically took a lot of time out of a day to rewrite it because, you know, it wouldn't have made sense for me to say all the things they wanted me to say. And it was successful in the end.
So Claire, do you find that your subscribers are more cynical or demanding of how you work with brands now compared with how it might have been a few years ago?
Definitely not demanding. They're interested in what I do, and I think I recently did a collaboration with Shiseido where I took a concept that they had, which was go mirrorless, you know, have the confidence to, you know, not worry about your foundation kind of thing. And instead of doing like a makeup tutorial, I did a day in the life almost, but it was voiceovered with thoughts that run through your head, like, oh my God, did I wake up too late? Like, oh, I really want coffee, like all of these things. And then obviously tying in visual aspects of me applying makeup and stuff, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh, like this foundation has silicone in it or, you know, what have you. But it was done in such a way that I don't think they even realized what it would be. And in the end, they were just like over the moon.
When you give up your creative freedom to someone, like videos, like I'm not a good dancer, and there was a video where I had to dance, and you know, I was being a yes person all the time. And I guess you got to learn when to say no when you want to say no. Yeah, don't let anyone mess with your art.